Well, I can see more people saying good morning. Queen Folashade Fashuba is also saying good morning. Good morning, Ma. I'm so glad to have you. Really so glad to have you. And if you
Well,
have more people in the house who can hear me clearly, please just go to the comment section and type one. You are hearing me clearly, please proceed to the chat box and type one. Just type one. And that tells me that everybody can clearly hear what I'm saying and I'm not talking to myself. Please proceed to do that. It will be an encouragement to me here that I'm not here alone and I have people around me doing this with me. Proceed to comment section, type one to encourage me and tell me that you are on the call already. And while I wait for that, um, I can see Afeolu Rotimi. It's a great pleasure to have you here, sir. We're so glad to know you're around. I can see Reverend Sister Augustina Ofo. Thank you very much, Reverend Sister, for making it a day with us to be part of the webinar. Also, um, I can see Jemima, I've recognized you earlier. Thank you for being here. There is another user that uses the name C. I can see you, C. Thank you very much for being punctual. I can see James A. Olubomi, JP. Good morning to you. And it's a pleasure to have you around. I can see your body, David. Thank you very much for joining. Precious Obiekwe, thank you very much for joining. I can also see Sarah Oludotu. I can see TechnoSpark 5 Pro. I can see another person with the name user. Thank you very much. Already we have up to 14 persons on the call and more are coming. But like I said earlier, our expectation is to have a full house, to have everyone joining us from all over the globe. And the more reason we decided to, give more time for people to join us in the next 5 minutes, which is going to be 13 after 10, the webinar is going to be starting. Currently, we have 18 persons on the call already. Thank you very much, Mr. Oyebaju David. He already typed one to indicate that he can hear me. And I can also see the same from Precious Obiekwe. I hope I pronounced that very well. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a great pleasure that we called you and you honored the invitation. Thank you so much. In few minutes, the webinar will be starting. Also, I can see good morning and welcome house. Thanks for being here. And that is coming from Ambassador Dr. James Olubunmi, OYJPWCPA. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to know that you're here. And it promises to be a great day with all of us today. It's going to be insightful, it's going to be informative, and it's going to make a lot of change. It gladdens my heart to, make a flashback to the last year edition of this webinar. The success story that followed the webinar is a whole lot of encouragement for us to keep doing what we are doing. Shortly after this webinar, someone from a radio station in Ibadan was part of the webinar, and they extended an invitation to us here at JDPC to, attend a radio program to talk about human trafficking. And of course, in the process, Reverend Sister Four, in company of one of our staffs, joined the program, and people in the society heard what we are up to, and they reported a case of a trafficking to us. And at the end of the day, that one led us to, rescuing over 10 victims somewhere in Ibadan who have been caught in the web of human trafficking. So thank you very much for making this a success already, because I can tell it is already a success today because I am seeing you here already. So thank you very much. In 4 minutes, I'll be back for the entire activity to kickstart. Thank you very much. All right, if you look at your time, it is exactly 13 minutes past 10 a.m. And that is the time I promised that we are going to return to start the webinar. And therefore, officially saying a beautiful morning to you, dear distinguished guests, panelists and participants, colleagues and friends who are joining us from all across different locations. It feels so good to know that you're here. And on behalf of Justice Development and Peace Commission, JDPC Ibadan, I warmly welcome you to this important webinar organized to commemorate this year, that's 2025 World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. This year's global theme, which is human trafficking is organized crime and exploitation, is a clarion call to all of us to recognize the scale and the complexity, the brutality of human trafficking, And as well, it reminds us that trafficking is not perpetrated by individuals in isolation, but through organized criminal networks that prey on vulnerability of people to, make a personal profit. That is why today, the webinar is going to be bringing together key actors from different parastatal, from government, from security agencies, and civil society to reflect on the progress and share experiences to chart a practical way forward in disseminating these networks and dismantling these networks and ending exploitation. It is on that note that I will have to be introducing to you our panelists whom we've drawn from different walks of life, those that have to do with the fight against human trafficking, to come and discuss with us this
Hello.
morning.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Fair. Good morning. So we have people from all walks of life, like I said, who have been invited to come and discuss with us this morning. And the first person I would like to introduce is the Oyo State's chairman of the Ministry of Women Affairs on Rapid Response and Gender-Based Violence. That is Pastor Marcus Williams, and he's going to be giving us the keynote speech. Also, we have in our midst Mrs. Adinike Bitara, Ethics Development and Peace Commission, JDPC Ibadan. We also have the pleasure of having in our midst the gender focal person, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, that's NSCDC, Oyo State Command, in person of Mr. Afe Olurotimi, whom just spoke just a while ago. Also, I've been told that this next person will be joining us a little bit late, but I'm going to be introducing him in absentia, and when he finally comes, he will be joining us, and that's the State Commander, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, or your State Command, that's Mr. Kayode Alfred. I was reliably informed that he's out of town and that might, delay his attendance today. But of course, before we leave, he's going to be joining us and make his own contribution. So we sincerely thank all of you for honoring this invitation. If you have decided not to come, we'll just call this meeting and no one will be here to grace it. So thank you very much for being here. But before I proceed, I'd like to let us know that it's important to highlight that human trafficking affects millions globally through forced labor, sexual exploitation, and criminal coercion, and a whole lot of forced engagement. And behind these statistics are real human beings whose dignity, their dreams, and future are being stolen from them. They are being compelled to do what they don't want to do. They are being subjugated to situations that are not palatable to them. And this is achieved by through organized criminal networks, exploiting poverty and vulnerability and weak system to thrive. And today's conversation is about strengthening collaboration, improving strategies, and driving meaningful action. And permit me to let you know that everyone we have invited to say one or two things today are those that are really informed about the activities of human trafficking, the traffickers, and how things are being done, talk about the acts, the means, and the purpose for which human trafficking is done. And at that, I want to quickly confirm if we have a keynote speaker in our midst yet. I saw him briefly earlier, but I need to double check because you'll be the one I'll be inviting next. That's Pastor Marcus Williams. I can see you again. Just for the sake of recognition, kindly say something for everyone to hear you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Marcus Williams is my name, the chairman of the Rapid Response Team on gender-based violence. I don't know if you can hear me very well, but I can hear you. I'm in Abuja. I'm in the same meeting with Mr. Alfred. It's a meeting of national stakeholders on trafficking, combating trafficking in persons. Of course, NAPTIP is hosting, and then all international partners are here. The EU, the UNODC team from Nigeria, the chief of party, ION chief of party, all ably represented. But that said, it's not going to disturb my participation because, of course, it's virtual and I can talk when I want to talk. Like I have just done, I have stepped out and we should be able to speak when it's my turn to speak. Thank you very much. Awaiting that opportunity. God bless you all.
Oh, thank you so very much, Pastor Marcos. It's a great honor to know that despite your tight schedule, you've counted us so important to, be with us this morning, knowing well that the topic we are discussing this morning affects not just an individual, but everybody, because if it affects your neighbor, it definitely will affect you someday. And without any ado, and to also manage our time so effectively, I would like to call on our keynote speaker who have just spoken to us just a while ago, Pastor Marcus Williams, to, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, give us the keynote address. Thank you very much, Pastor Williams, and it's over to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, the team of the JDPC, the state focal person. I don't know the name right now, but I can see that Sister Augustina Ofo is on this call. I can also see that Mr. Afe Olurotimi of the Civil Defense, a very good friend, is on the call. I recognize you. I don't know if the Reverend Father is on the call at the JDPC, but I also want to appreciate his um, support for the response team in the state. We appreciate you. That said, let me start by introducing myself and then talk about how we initiated or started the rapid response team on gender-based violence in Oyo State and what led to its formation. Then I'll proceed to talk about trafficking in persons in Oyo State. It was sometime, I think, back at the time when they were killing young women, supposedly for ritual around that TLA environment. If you remember that time, that the House of Assembly in Oyo State requested for the Honorable Commissioner of Women Affairs to provide solution to the menace. And the then Permanent Secretary called my attention and said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "It's obvious. We do not have a response team that is swift and fast. And then even if it is considered by a government, it's not going to be swift and fast. But if we infuse the civil society into their midst and then see how it goes, you'll be sure that because civil society believe in being swift in our responses to things, it will work out well." So they constituted that meeting at the Ministry of Women Affairs, and then as it would go, the entire house said who best to handle it except the person that has been doing it with the Nigerian police, the civil defense, and all of that. And that was how they nominated me, and then they all agreed I should be the chair of the response team. Since then, we've been responding, and then for the Akinyele saga, immediately we took up the office, we did visit to relevant stakeholders in that area, and we realized that one, it was not actually a situation of murder cases everywhere. It's just a few individuals of course, for some political gains, and then those who are also ritually trying to make stories. And one particular guy was arrested, and I tracked him to the police station. And a day after, I was told that he ran away from the police station. And I tried to understand that situation. But since then, we have not heard that any woman has been killed around the KLA environment. That was the end of that story. So, which meant this: the rapid response team was able to do stakeholders consultations, strategic visits to key community persons, the security agencies, understanding the dynamics around those crime committed, and we were able to provide solutions, and that resolved the crisis. Now, that said, we also realized that in terms of the prosecution of such individuals, there's these bottlenecks around it, and we're able to resolve that too by talking to the police to ensure that they this meeting you are doing. Like the name implies, a rapid response team on gender-based violence. It is that it is rapid, which means it's a 24/7 response team. We do not say we have closed. We do not close from work. We are always working. My phone is always on. Data is always on. But you must understand that there is no funding from the government to the response team, except for this year when some small funds came, but it did not come to the office of the chair or to any other person in the response team. It is domiciled in the Ministry of Women Affairs, and we have not been able to access that fund even till this minute as I speak. But we have been up and doing about the responses. And it's like when you have a case that has a crime committed and somebody is trying to report the case, they call my attention to it. What we do is to make sure that we leverage on the available presence of security agencies around that crime scene and ensure that the police or the civil defense do due diligence and they do their work. We don't do their work for them, no. We are not security agencies, but we have the architecture of security agencies working with the response team in Oyo State. And then we pick up that case from there, and we encourage people to report at the nearest security agency. It doesn't matter where. And in terms of compromising cases, we always make sure that we follow up. And if they give us information that it is not being handled properly, we request that such cases should be transferred to the state CID or to HQ of the Civil Defense Office, where we know we have a sway and we are able to sit with both the perpetrator, the survivor, the victims, as we call them, and then we adjudicate properly. Then again, we also make sure it is rapid because we leverage on our resources. We don't wait for government to write one memo out, and then we are not, as it were, delegated or mandated. Our work is to respond, and we do not wait for further instruction to respond. I only make sure that I coordinate the response so that nobody goes beyond the confines of the protocols that we have established as CORO for the response team, and nobody does that which is contradictory. Now, in terms of the responses, we have also made sure that it is holistic. Holistic because we know there are intricacies around responding to GBV. Number one, because of the training that I personally have received from the UNODC in Vienna, as well as the UN partners globally that has to do with forensic investigation, we have come to understand that sometimes gender-based violence victims do not want what we want. They just want to be away from the crime environment, the crime scene, the perpetrator. They just want to be free. And so we try to understand our responses must go by the victim-centered approach. We do not just respond with it. We allow the victim to dictate the pace. They tell us what they want, and we guide their judgment, particularly when it's a victim or a survivor that is not able to speak for themselves. They are incapable of making decisions for themselves. We invoke the child right law if they are children, or we invoke the violence against persons law if they are adults, and then we respect their interest if they are adults, but we do not respect the interest of family members, particularly when they are not the direct survivors of those things, because sometimes they try to compromise cases just to their own interest without taking cognizance of the best interest of the survivor or the victim. And so we prioritize the victim. So our response approach is victim-centered approach. Then again, we have a partner that is the Child Protection Network that does the case management approach in our responses. So they do all the documentation, and our response is such that we do not incur into the office of other responders. For instance, if a case is reported and we take the case to civil defense, I will not go and be doing civil defense to tell them this is how you investigate, this is how you don't investigate, this is how you prosecute, this is how you don't prosecute, or this is how you charge to court, and this is how you should not charge to court. No, the civil defense follows their protocol. And if I feel I am not comfortable with it, we establish a stakeholders meeting. And at that table, we call it case conferencing discussions. We present our opinion about the case and the way it is going and tell them our position. This is what we believe the state wants. And when we say the state, it is the state, it is the government that is saying such. And so that puts a caveat around us to be very careful in our behavior, to be very careful in our engagement. We do not just do whatever we like. We are always very cautious in our engagement. Sometimes some people want me, just go, just pick the suspect. And I say, no, you don't do that. We cannot just pick them. We have to be very wary in how we do that. All right, that said about our responses, let me just hang it there so that when further questions come, I'll elaborate more. As to the International Day Against Trafficking in Persons, I need you to know that I'm a member of the UN team on trafficking in persons, and then I also observe that day very keenly, but in a different way. I do not observe days by doing programs, but I observe days by ensuring that every available survivor we have intervened in, I try to see how I can reach them to find out where they are and then see what response we can give. Now, that said, permit me to say this. It is imperative that in our responses, we have always ensured that stakeholders are well informed. That is, if they told us they want to respond, we ask questions as to where, when, what, why, who, who is the victim, who is the suspect, who is the parent, who is the security officer, the who's that are involved. We want to understand. And then as we understand these persons, we want to eliminate conflict of interest. Conflict of interest in terms of location. For instance, you rescue a child in Monia and you go to put the child in an orphanage around Monia. You are compromising the child's security. You are compromising the security of the shelter. You are compromising the security of every other person that is involved in terms of protecting the child. I'll give you an instance. In one of our interventions, I don't know if you know Yagaku police station very well, there was this case of assault or occasioning harm that has to do with sexual assault. And when I intervened in that case, we went to make that arrest in collaboration with the police. And the station was trying to investigate. I went there that particular morning and I had an officer in uniform telling somebody on the phone, well, I have not seen the person. The person's name is my Pastor Marcos, they say. And then when I see, I will now know his interest before I know how to engage him and then know where we can tell him to suspend that. And the person didn't know that I was the Pastor Marcos he was talking about. I was just standing beside him. And I felt if it is like this, it means my safety is compromised. So I quickly stepped into the office of the OC JDPC and I told her, well, I want to take a leave and then whatever they come out as outcome of the case, so be it. Of course, the case died there and the case never went beyond that level. But then survivor was protected. We took the survivor away. And as I speak, survivor is still within the shelter and is safe and is in school and doing very, very well, except that not within family members, which is a concern for us also. Now, that said, we always make sure that our interventions looks at the who, the where. Is it within Oyo State. We've had cases come from Lagos, and it's not in our jurisdiction. And people will say, you have to do something. It doesn't matter. You're a gender activist, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, it's not in my jurisdiction. There's nothing we can do about it. It occurred in Ogun State. Or the best I could do is to pick up the case and give to our counterpart in Ogun State, and then they will respond. And they said, no, they want me. I said, no, sorry, there's nothing I can do about that. I don't have that jurisdiction. So we respect our jurisdiction in terms of organizations. I will not be doing JDPC's interventions by going to investigate for JDPC when I know JDPC can do it on their own. So we respect such jurisdiction. I will make sure that it's been coming around like that. Sister Agostina will tell you that. Then, in terms of the way we have been doing it in Oyo State, it's been very dynamic. It's been coming strong. We've had success stories. I'll talk about one or two, and then talk about challenges. We've had success stories around the fact that we had a case of Aliyah. Aliyah is in school. Aliyah is doing very well. Aliyah is about to write her SSC exam. Aliyah came in when she was in primary school. A case of sexual defilement by incest, for those of us that know what that means. And the father was incarcerated, he's still incarcerated. But as we read, Aliyah is doing very well. She's bounced back to life, she's gotten her life back. But we don't know, for one reason or the other, she's just saying she wants to go back home, she wants to be with her family members. And so we are still on that. The case is still ongoing in court, and we want to make sure that it is done properly. Then another story resonated around a woman that was about to die by Leeds City University, and then they just took the picture of the woman in the gutter and they brought it to us. And I responded very quickly. I got to that point and I realized that there will be security concerns if the woman dies in our hands. So I put a call through to the Deputy Commissioner of Police and I requested for assistance. Surprisingly, he radioed while he was talking with me on phone, he radioed their command and requested that the DPO Express Police Command should respond. And then in the next 10 minutes, personally himself, the Deputy Commander of Police, came to that scene. And as I speak, that woman is still alive because the DCP gave us his car to take her to the hospital. We spent a bit of money, do all the tests and all the treatment, and she's healthy. She's fine. She's doing very, very well. Even now, she didn't die. Just two cases. There are many more to talk about, all right, as it relates to different kind of situations. Then, what about cases from Lagos, where the victims will run to Ibadan to come and hide? Do we throw them back? No, we don't. We protect them. We leverage on the architecture of security networks we have, protect them, invite their parents to come, and then do the due diligence through the Ministry of Women Affairs, and then repatriate them through their families back to Lagos, making them to sign undertaking to protect the children. And so this has been ongoing for some time and is becoming good and strong. All right. That said, I don't know if my time is up, my 15 minutes is up, but please let me know. All right. Having said that, I believe that it's not been easy. Yes, the political will is strong, but not as we expect it to be. The Minister of Women Affairs has owned the response team as her own, and they tell people the governor has reported on it. We sometime last year or 2 years ago did a kind of data collection and analysis, which we do frequently. And then we came up to understand that children age 6 to age 13 were at risk because we realized that children of that age, 6 years, were assaulting children that were lesser than 6, 3, 4, 5, and then children that were 13 assaulting children that were lesser than that age. And we felt this was not too good a scene based on the data we have. And so we had to devise strategies to curb that trend. But it's still ongoing, and we hope to be able to reduce it. As at last week, we still had the situation where 3 teenagers were involved in defiling a baby of about, I think, some few months, and then this happened in a school. All right, so we believe that all of that is a challenge for us because we feel that the government should take more concrete steps in terms of funding the rapid response team, and we've not had it coming as we expect. We also believe that the response team members, most of whom are private sector inclined, have not been forthcoming as expected. You know, some persons thought that money will come.
All right. Yeah, all right, Pastor. I will have to cut you a
All right,
little
thank
bit
you.
there. A lot have been said, and of course, I also share the sentiment that the government will have to be up and doing in funding rapid response team in
Yeah.
order for you to be able to do your work as expected. But of course, I still have a couple of questions lined up for you and other panelists, and because of our time, I'd like to let you take your breath a little bit. But before you finally, take silence for now. I would like to ask you, because so many have been mentioned about what you have done uh, so far. You've really made us see how much intervention you have done, and it gladdens my heart here. But I need to know, Pastor, what institutional challenges persist in addressing. Please, okay,
Orakayode, mute your mic.
I can see we already
Orakayode,
have
mute your mic. We are hearing
um,
you, what's happening in your voice.
Mr. Kayode here. Kayode Alfred from NAPTIP. I'm glad to have him here. But in a jiffy, we'll be talking with him also. But I was about asking Pastor Marcos a question that what institutional challenges persist in addressing trafficking as organized crime, especially from a gender-based violence response perspective.
Some of the institutional challenges we have is the non-collaborative engagement between security agencies, particularly the Nigerian Immigration Service and the police, and then NAPTIP has tried to see how we close this gap, but it's still not working for us. We still have instances where victims of trafficking were assaulted, and we were able to identify, rescue, and then requested that they transfer to NAPTIP, but for whatever reasons they did not. They said they were going to charge suspect to court. Yes, they did charge suspect to court, but not as expected. The charge was not weighty enough to court to ensure conviction. And so, like I said, when we have such instances, we let it go. So you have these inter-agency collaboration bottlenecks. It's just there. It's just there with us. And we sometimes some people will report cases of trafficking to the police. Then when they see they're not getting what they wanted, they will go to the civil defense and report same cases. And then the police will be intimidating and all of that. So we have such these are institutional concerns. Then we have the institution that has to do with shelter provision for traffic victims. And I can tell you that for the Ministry of Women Affairs, we don't have a state institution for trafficked persons. We don't have any shelter. The only shelter we have is the shelter that some of us have provided for adults, and it does not have spaces for taking more than five at a go. And so that is not too good for us because it hinders prosecution, it hinders other necessary things that we are supposed to do. Thank you very much.
I agree. I agree with you, Pastor Marcos. I remember last year, that's one of the major things I mentioned during last year edition of this webinar, talking about the need for us to have shelter in our state. Because after the entire effort, if you help someone and at the end of the day, you don't have a place to keep the person, it gets the entire effort frustrated. I share that sentiment. But can you please tell us, sir, uh, would you like to share some key achievement, I mean, some key achievements or ongoing initiative of the rapid response team in identifying and as well protecting and supporting survivors of human trafficking? A shelter is one of those things that we have identified. But what are those other key achievements that you have made in recent time or that you're working
Okay, so
upon?
I would gladly want everybody to know that because we assess data, we collect, collate, and do analysis on data, we realize that the Nigerian police force at divisional level were not properly carried along in what we do. So that prompted some members of the response team to look for resources, and we did a training for all divisional juvenile welfare officers as well as gender officers across the state. That training was done at LA Police Headquarters, and it centered around forensic investigation because we realized that some cases, when they come, the police will just ask you core questions and they stop there. But in terms of forensic questioning, they do not have that capacity. So we brought Professor Uwon from the University College Hospital to do that training, and it was holistic and robust. And that has reduced the number of cases that they call us for, because people just go report and then the police do the due diligence. So that for us is a success story. We trained over 120 police officers in Oyo State, and that was done last month, very last month, and it's been a success story for us. We've been able to train quite a bit of other stakeholders in responding to trafficking in persons issues, and then in protecting victims of trafficking. We've had success stories that has to do with traffic victims come into Oyo State. We rescued, provided care for a period of time, then they stabilized, and then they requested for they want to go home. And then in collaboration with NAPTIP and the Ministry of Women Affairs, we successfully repatriated them back to their state. And when they got there, NAPTIP officers came, which was sponsored by IOM, International Organization for Migration. For us, it was a success story because there was this gamut of responders, national and state and local, coming together to make that happen. So it was a success story indeed. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I must say that it's a blessing to have organizations such as the Ministry of Women Affairs and also the Rapid Response Team with you at the helm of affairs. A lot has been done, and I trust that you can still do more. And I trust God also will help you to achieve more. Before I engage the law enforcement agents in our midst, I would like to come back home a little bit because as an insider, I've been part of a couple of interventions when it comes to human trafficking, and I can tell that JDPC as an organization has done a lot in fight against you. Engage our chief of staff, who is going to be speaking on behalf of the organization this morning, to tell us one or two things. Mrs. Adenike Bitara, let me hear your voice if you're on the call. Mrs. Bitara, please do say something if you're on the call. I need to identify you before I ask you any question. I'm trying to see if she's there. Okay, while we wait for Mrs. Ibitara, let me quickly engage Mr. Afe Olurotimi, who has over the years been a friend of JDPC and has done a lot of work with JDPC. You know, whenever there is need to do rescue mission, and I see Mr. Afe, I am always I am always at peace because I know he's going to do the entire thing with his entire ability. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Feb, for being on the call this morning. I want to briefly ask you from the NSCDC perspective. Mr. Feb, are you there? Before I ask my question. Hello, Mr. Feb. Mr. Feb, are you there? Oh, Mr. Feb seems not to be available at the moment. Oh, okay, it's there. Mr. Feb, please say something if you can hear me, please. Hello. Okay, while we wait for Mr. Feb, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry for that. There was an interruption in my network.
It's fine. It's fine. While we wait for Mr. Fair to respond, I will have to come back to the head of staff, Mrs. Nike Bitara Esquire, who is representing the organization. Madam, I would like to just briefly highlight some of the organization's key intervention and success stories in combating human trafficking and exploitation over the years. I said earlier that I'm aware JDPC has done a lot that I can see as a person, but a lot of persons on the call are not really aware of what JDPC has done. So please take a few moments to highlight some of our intervention and success story. Over to you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much for having me, and good morning, everyone listening. Well, so far, JDPC Ibadan has been involved with first even survey. We have carried out survey on the level of knowledge of human trafficking by different stakeholders, across the state, just to be able to, really design our intervention to make it as effective as possible. And so we did that survey and we realized that the level of knowledge about human trafficking is actually not good enough. That there was need for more an intensive public enlightenment about what human trafficking is and the different phases of human trafficking. And that also helped us to also map out which parts of Oyo State in particular you have more occurrences of human trafficking. We're able to identify the channels, the routes that traffickers use either to take their victims out of the state or bring them in. And so we're also able to identify where the end users also are, persons who use the victims of human trafficking, where they are. So that's something that we've done, and it has really helped us in designing our own intervention strategy as an organization. Then, of course, in collaborating, because I'm also a member of the rapid response team that Pastor Marcus talked about at the state level. At that level, too, we've been able to collaborate with the members of that team to rescue, victims. And we've been able to rescue over 21 or thereabouts victims of human trafficking. We've also been able to empower and resettle a few of them who wanted, who required empowerment and reintegration back into society. And of course, we also offer psychosocial support, not by our organization, but we network with other organizations that can provide psychosocial support for victims so that the trauma that they go through in the course of the trafficking is overcome by the victims or survivors, as they are called. Also, the continuous enlightenment, especially in schools, young people who are actually prone to being trafficked, is something that we continue to go on in most public schools we go to around. We educate them, the young children or the students, about the risk and the dangers of trafficking and what are those things they need to look out for. What are the symptoms or what are the appearances of human trafficking within their environments and wherever they are, so that at least if we cannot, we can do some preventive measures, and then when it happens also we can also come into rescue in collaboration with all state agencies and maybe federal institutions that are saddled with the responsibility to combat human trafficking in Nigeria and in the states in particular. So, of course, JDPC Ibadan is always ready to intervene and to carry out various activities that will educate, reduce, and also prevent, and then, of course, aid survivors of human trafficking. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much, madam. While you make your presentation, I picked something where you talked about identifying the channels through which the traffickers operate. So I want to ask, are there particular trends or emerging forms of trafficking, perhaps a tech-based, a tech-enabled recruitment process, or a kind of migration or routes that are new that JDPC is just observing?
Yes, one of the areas, emerging areas, is actually the issue of technology, use of technology. And that is an area that is so open. And you find that the young people, the targets who are victims of human trafficking, are those persons who are mostly involved or engaging the social media, the internet space. That is another area for recruiting, for luring people into being trafficked. One of those trends that we've observed is trend of posting conferences abroad. You find out that there are conferences, sometimes they tell you that it's going to be sponsored, they'll take care of the travel documents and everything. Some of those conferences that are being posted are actually false. They're actually channels to traffic persons. But unless some background checks are done, if the person is tech survey or has a link to those who can do some deep investigation, deep searching in the internet space, you may not know that that conference that is being advertised is actually false. Then there's also the advertisement for job opportunities to relocate outside the country or maybe outside the state where you're resident. That is also something new that we are observing. So when you register, you apply for the person is admitted or granted employment in court, and before you know it, he or she may find him or herself in a place and doing what he or she did not actually apply for. So that is also that. And even admission to schools, you have some that are actually false. So you have to do a lot of deep searching to be able to know that some of those advertised schools and admissions being offered are actually channels to traffic persons. Then there's also online loan applications, online loans that are being given. Persons are lured into taking these loans, and when you take them, you find out that repayment is difficult. And you get to a point where for you to repay, they are telling you to either go into prostitution or do one thing or the other to be able to pay back that loan. So these are some of the new trends that we are observing as an organization that are being used to traffic innocent or desperate Nigerians. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma. Before I allow you take some breath, I would be asking you like two questions in one. Number one, a lot from what you have said have been identified as new means through which these perpetrators are going about their businesses. So number one question is, what is JDPC doing to enlighten the society, at least for them to know about these activities and the new tactics they are doing? That's number one. Number two, I want to know, because all that you have mentioned so far that JDPC have done are not what you can do alone. So how does JDPC work with law enforcement agencies, state institutions, and other partners to disrupt this trafficking network?
All right, thank you. Well, JDPC cannot work alone, obviously. And our membership on the state's rapid team has actually helped a lot. And as member of the civil society, we're able to use members of that team, the law enforcement on that team, to actually carry out when we get reports, because there's a system. So when we get reports like that, we do our findings and then we reach out to law enforcement agents that are on that team or within the local area where the incident occurred, to be able to rescue. If we're able to find the individual, the victim, if we're able to identify, we identify, and if we're able to take that person over, for example, someone who is abandoned on the road or maybe has been able to escape or whatever, or our attention is brought by an individual, if we're able to get that person, we move on straight to the law enforcement, either within that jurisdiction, or we call on the member of the law enforcement on the rapid team to actually take steps to arrest or to rescue, and then take the person through the process of maybe medical attention, reporting, and then shelter. The Ministry of Women Affairs comes in strongly there. So either recommend a shelter or take that person and place in a shelter directly. Then, of course, prosecution now comes in with NAPTIP, which is also a member of the team. NAPTIP comes in to do the necessary legal steps in order to prosecute, where we're able to identify or apprehend the offender or the trafficker. So that's something we do. Then as for the what we're doing with the emerging issues, like we said, there are emerging issues. We are rounding up our findings, and we are also putting together a program where we bring the necessary relevant stakeholders, especially law enforcement and state agencies, together to see how we can strengthen their capacity to deal with this cyber or these internet approaches or channels of luring people into trafficking. Of course, the continuous enlightenment is there. We are beginning to intensify our efforts to educate both churches, mosques, schools on these new trends and the need for them to actually be more vigilant and do their due diligence before they apply or go for interviews or travel or submit themselves for different kinds of programs which may lead to them being trafficked. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for all these insightful information you have shared. Mr. Alfred, we can hear you. You are there, and I can see you. Thank you very much. In a jiffy, I'll be coming to you. Just give us a little moment for me to get to you, please. As we communicate, I identify that the user C on the call is our own Reverend Father Charles Ajibaye, and I want to have my director on the call, and I want to have him to say something to everyone. Of course, before the end of the webinar, you will have time to extensively say something. But for now, Father Charles, I would just like you to say hello to everybody before the webinar continues. Father, please, over to you. Hello, Father. If you can hear me, please unmute yourself and say hello to everyone before we proceed, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I've been on the call since morning, so I appreciate everyone for joining us on this webinar, making our time to join us on this discussion. The moderator, thank you very much. All our keynote speaker, Mr. Kayode Afe from NAPTIP, Pastor Marcos, our keynote speaker, thank you very much. And Barrister Bitara, thank you very much for highlighting all that the organization is doing to help in combating this scourge called human trafficking and how to end this exploitation. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm sure that later on, maybe towards the end of this webinar, I'll probably have a few more things to say. So let's just allow all our experts and keynote speakers continue to enlighten us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Father Charles. It's a great honor to know that you are here with us. Moving ahead, initially, when I was speaking with the head of staff, she was talking about how JDPC works with the likes of NAPTIP, NSCDC, and the likes. So that would take me to engaging the players in that field. Earlier, I introduced Mr. Afe, who is a focal person for NSCDC. My next question will go to him. And in that order, I'll be speaking with Mr. Alfred too. Mr. Afe, please, I wanted to engage you the other time, but I realized you were not on. Please, if you are there, kindly let me know you're there.
Yes, I'm there. Hello,
yeah, Mr. Afe, thank you very much. We can hear you, and I most sincerely appreciate you for always being there for JDPC. A lot you have done with us, and I know that God will reward your efforts. Going forward, I would like to know from NSCDC's perspective, how does human trafficking fit into broader scope of organized crime? You know, when you talk of human trafficking being an organized crime.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me, Mr. Afe?
I can hear you. I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Right now. Now, I'm trying to know that how does human trafficking fit into that idea of it being an organized crime? Is it that people just start somewhere and think about it, or it is actually organized crime as it is?
Thank you for having me on the program. So sorry, the network has been so unfriendly. Mr. Father, it's on a twofold. In some cases, this is situational by intentionally people actually fitting into this. Organized in the sense that we find a situation by the family, the immediate family, who are supposed to be protective of any prospective victims, will be part and parcel of the trafficking process. Why do I say that? Last week, a case was reported that a woman and the father came forward to complain that their daughter was trafficked to, I think, Qatar. Then I said, what is the problem? While they were talking, they made me understand that initially they personally went to borrow Lako to pay the trafficker to take this person out of the system. While they got there, the lady, the victim and the trafficker now had issues within themselves, meaning that the amount they promised, I think they had issue, they have agreement of about maybe 2 million or thereabout, but they have paid like ₦1 million. When they now got there, the trafficker now insisted that he's not going to collect the money in naira, he's going to collect it in dollar. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even allow the victim to speak with their parents, with her parents. So I now asked them, I said, initially you knew this person was being taken out of this system. And the way you were talking, you told me that somebody linked you up. The person that even linked you up happens to be your cousin. That is the mother's cousin who linked them up. So you find that it's whereby it's organized in the sense that the family, the immediate family are always knowing to it. And that, I think that is one of the latest trends that we see around. That family are always involved in most of these things. Hello, can you hear me?
Very well, Mr. Afe. Thank you very much for that fact that you have drawn out. Of course, if family members will be part of trafficking, then it is not far from something that is well organized and well arranged, because a right-thinking individual will not want to, subject a family member into trafficking, if not that it's been well arranged and organized, well understood, and I must appreciate you for that insight. So I would like you to explain how NSCDC dictates situations like this, how you dictate, how you investigate, and in fact, how you intervene in trafficking cases, particularly when it involves those vulnerable population.
Yes, thank you for that. How do we come into matters like this? Like the last speaker spoke, that NAPTIP is the sole person who has the command. I mean, they have their commanders. We act a supplementary role with the NAPTIP, part of the synergy that we have with them. Now, when we have cases like that that's reported, first thing we look at is the victim, the safety of the victim first, if the victim is available. In some cases, we have a case that a child was trafficked from Ibadan, from Shaki to Ghana. When they brought the child, the first thing we did was that to network with Women Affairs. That, okay, Women Affairs, we have to do so. She doesn't have a place to stay. It was a good Samaritan that she talked to in the bus who brought her to our office. So we did that. Then we linked up with NAPTIP that we have so case, but because when they brought the victim, it was late in the evening. So we needed to provide a shelter for that victim. Now, NAPTIP comes in by referring the case to them because they have a broader network to handle cases of such. So what we do is we ensure that NAPTIP is in knowing with whatever we do. We refer cases to them. Where there's a need for us to provide or to ask advice for shelter or otherwise, we take advantage of the Ministry of Women Affairs, ensuring that the victim is protected if we have the victim.
Please go on, sir.
If I'm not, I'll go back to my distance.
Gone out to operate, we arrest suspects. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Afe, we can hear you loud and clear. Please proceed.
Yeah, so like I said, that we synergize a lot with NAPTIP when cases are brought to us.
All right.
Either we have or we don't have the victim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afe. Of course, they always say that human trafficking cases are more on the neck of NAPTIP, and gracefully we have in our midst the powerhouse that represents NAPTIP in Oyo State. I'm talking of none other person but Mr. Kayode Alfred. Mr. Alfred, please let me hear your voice if you are there, sir. Hello, Mr. Alfred. If you are here, please say something that I may know you are there. I can see you are there. Please respond and let me know you are ready for us, Mr. Alfred. Okay, Mr. Alfred, I may have to come back to you while we wait for Mr. Alfred to respond. I will still ask you one or more questions while we wait for Mr. Alfred.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Mr. Alfred, please, you can take your breath a bit while we engage Mr. Alfred a little bit. He just responded that he's there. Mr. Alfred, please, I would like to know, I want you to, walk us through the process for detection and also prosecuting the activities of human trafficking, particularly within the NAPTIP jurisdiction.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me as well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now, I asked if you could please walk us through the process for detection and also to prosecute trafficking cases under NAPTIP jurisdiction.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Kayode Alfred, and I'm the State Commander of NAPTIP. That's the acronym for National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, or your State Command. I would like to state this before I answer this question, that NAPTIP was established in the year 2003, and it is the focal law enforcement agency of the federal government of Nigeria to address this scourge of human trafficking. So every other organization are playing complementary roles. We have the mandate based on the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement Administration Act 2015, which was, it started in 2003, it was amended 2005, and reenacted in 2015. So what I'm just trying to say is that NAPTIP is the sole agency that has the mandate to prosecute cases of cases of human trafficking, to investigate, to carry out public enlightenment, to carry out victim protection in all ramifications, and of course, to collaborate with international organizations, local organizations, ministries, departments, and agencies, all relevant stakeholders to address the scourge of human trafficking. Now, anything I'll be saying, I will like to narrow it down to Oyo State, because Oyo State is my jurisdiction. So now back to your question. Please, can you fill the question again?
Yeah, I asked you that you should walk us through the process through which you dictate and prosecute trafficking. Yeah.
Yes, I won't be able to talk much on that because all information surrounding our operations are classified. You understand? They're restricted. We could have confidential, secret, and top secret. But I'm going to just shed a little light on that. But I won't go into details because doing that will be unethical of me. I can't disclose certain things. So now, all right, let's start with, in NAPTIP, we investigate cases of human trafficking. We have that mandate to do that. So there are three approaches to investigation of suspected cases of human trafficking. We have the proactive, we have the reactive, then we have the, hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Please go on, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, we have the proactive, we have the reactive, then we have the disruptive. So I'm just trying to tell you how the sources by which we get cases in NAPTIP. Now, proactive, NAPTIP as an intelligence-driven agency do what we call surveillance. We don't need to wait for anyone, organizations to write petitions to us, you understand, telling us that there is a suspected case of human trafficking involving a trafficker and a victim. We wouldn't do that. We don't do that. So once in a while, we carry out surveillance, which is intelligence-based. And from there, we end up rescuing victims of human trafficking, arresting the traffickers as well. That's number one. Number two, we call it the reactive approach of investigation, where people come in person, people make calls to report cases, people send emails, we react to that. That's what we call reactive approach of investigation. And of course, the third one that I said, disruptive. Based on intelligence gathered, we do what we call raid. We do it jointly, usually with the civil defense. And when we raid, for instance, brothels, or some people could be intercepted maybe while in transit within Oyo State, because Oyo State, for instance, is a source, transit, and destination point for human trafficking. So based on all what I've said, we investigate cases of human trafficking based on these three approaches. Then we move forward. Now, how do the process of you said, how do we investigate cases? Or please, can you come again? Maybe I think I'm mixing up the questions here. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Alfred, we're just trying to know the process through which you detect and also prosecute trafficking cases.
Okay, the process, I just mentioned them. Some could be reactive. People write petitions to us reporting suspected cases of human trafficking. Sometimes we cast our nets, we go to some black spots that we suspect that human trafficking activities are ongoing, such as brothels. You know, it contravenes the NAPTIP Act, that's the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition, Enforcement and Administration Act, that he who keeps a brothel where there are underage children, that person commits an offense. So once in a while, we do what we call undercover operations. We could go to brothels and just pose as if we are there to patronize the commercial sex workers so that we can gather intelligence, so that wherever we see a brothel that has an underage person there, the owner of the brothel and whoever is connected to the exploitation of such teenage person will be arrested and prosecuted. Then we have also seen where people make calls to us and we swing into action. We usually do joint operations with NIS, that's Nigerian Immigration Service, with civil defense, with the police, with the DSS, and all other relevant security agencies, just to achieve that purpose, to rescue victims and to arrest traffickers. So when we have a case that we are investigating, what we first of all do is, if there's a victim, we interview the victim, put the statement of the victim down. If there are witnesses, we interview the witnesses so that we can be able to gather intelligence in respect of how that victim was exploited. Then after doing this, the trafficker, usually, if cases are transferred, sometimes they might not transfer it along with the trafficker. Maybe the trafficker is at large. There are ways that we track such trafficker and we get him or her arrested. And when we arrest a suspected trafficker, the first thing we do is to give bail conditions. You know, without bail conditions attached to it, I doubt whether there's any trafficker that will not jump bail. So they must produce sureties. You understand? When they produce sureties, the surety is to stand. The surety is just to stand on their behalf that this suspected trafficker, who is still undergoing investigation, he will not jump bail. You understand? And when we do every of this, we interrogate, though we don't use the word interrogate for suspect again, we do interview. So when we put down the statements under word of caution, the next thing, if there are other things to be done, if there are more suspects to be arrested, we go for them. If there are incriminating documents or materials that we need to prosecute, to have a successful prosecution, we gather all these things, and the next thing, the case file from investigation unit goes straight to the legal and prosecution department of our agency, where we have our lawyers, our prosecutors, who will now look at the whole case file and we determine whether the case will go to court. Sometimes they may say, okay, the investigation still need to be forwarded. You understand? We still need to extend investigation to certain areas, maybe to arrest more people or to get some incriminating materials or information, all to achieve a successful prosecution in court. Then the next thing, from the legal and prosecution department, they charge the case to court. They call witnesses. Everything depends on the judge. But at the end of the day, there's hardly a case of human trafficking that we don't prosecute successfully. We prosecute our cases because we make sure we get all evidences. And of course, the victim involved, we come to court to testify. Other witnesses, will come and testify. If there are materials that needs to be tendered in court, maybe video recording, we do all these things. So this is all I can say for that question. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alfred, thank you very much. I so much appreciate your contribution, and I must say thank you for what you do for humanity. I am aware that yourself and Pastor Marcos are quite busy back in Abuja, so I would like you to indulge me to ask you and himself the questions I have left for you, so that I can allow you to return to what you're doing at the moment. So I'm going to be bombarding you with the questions, and I hope you won't mind, sir.
No, I don't mind, but I'm just
all right,
conscious.
sir.
I need to go back
As the agent that is directly saddled with the responsibility of apprehending and going after and apprehending the human traffickers, what trend are you observing in terms of recruitment tactics, victim demographics, and also trafficking routes that these perpetrators use?
All right, that's a very good question. All right, I'll start by the trends, of recruitment, right? You see, in so many years back, from 18, 20 years ago, the trend of recruitment of victims of human trafficking has really changed due to the advent of the internet, due to the advent of the social media. Majorly, we see victims of human trafficking being exploited. We see them being recruited through the social media, for instance, Facebook. Many people have friends on Facebook that they don't know in person. Some of these traffickers use Facebook as a bait to get their victims that will be exploited. You see, and they usually do it this way. They could post it on Facebook or on Twitter or anywhere, the social media space, advertising jobs that don't exist, and they make it lucrative. Some of them, they advertise beauty pageantry. Some girls, of course, they are targeting all these young women. And before you know it, they make friends with them. They instill this confidence in them that they are trying to help them achieve a career. Even those, we call something sports trafficking right now. Hello, we have what's called sport trafficking, where there will be some false advertisements on social media or anywhere that maybe footballers are needed, that we go to Europe, they can assist them to get clubs in football clubs in Europe. And those people will believe, out of desperation, looking at the likes of the Ronaldos, the Messi, all these sportsmen and women will, they will it entices them. They see it as somebody is trying to help them. So they fall into the dragnet of these traffickers. So these are some of the trends, latest trend by which traffickers recruit their victims. Another one is the desperation to travel to Arab countries like Iraq, Oman, like Lebanon. It's very rampant here in Oyo State, where young women, even married women, will be enticed by some so-called travel agents that they will help them travel abroad to countries in the Middle East to do shagala. Shagala is an Arabic word for house help. And this thing is getting unabated, because every now and then I receive calls, even from Oman, from Lebanon, voice notes, women that are lamenting that they were under exploitation there. And when you ask them, how did you get there? Who is the trafficker? Can you give us the phone number? Can you give us the address? Could you believe that I don't think there has been any one of them that have been able to pinpoint, to forward the phone numbers or give detailed address of these traffickers to us. Sometimes they give phone numbers, but by the time you call those numbers or you attempt to track those phone numbers, you discover that the lines were not going again, because the traffickers as well must have envisaged that anything could happen. They push our women, they push our girls, all in the name of making money as housemaids in Arab countries. But when they get there, they usually get exploited. The first thing when they get there is they seize their passport, international passport. And I want to say this for those that don't know this. In all these Arab countries, like Lebanon, even Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran, there's this law that permits their citizens. We call it the kafala migration labor system. This law permits these Arab men and women to sponsor foreigners into their country to come and work as housemaid. And there are clauses in that kafala law that says their citizens have right to determine the entry, the exit of that person, the nature of work they will do, and the residency. And when our women get there, they use them like slaves. And when the time they start complaining, the Arab men, the Arab women, we just allege that they are stolen from them. This one stole gold, stole their cash. And the next thing, they take them to a place where the exploitation will be a higher exploitation. They torture them, they rape them. In my phone now, I can't remember the number of voice notes from Iraq, from Oman that I have here. And these people will be shouting, please, Egbawa, Egbawa, Nkota will you. I am not ruling out the fact that we still have very few of these women, especially Yoruba women from the Southwest, that are there, that are not having any problem. I mean, they work and they get paid. But by and large, from my statistics so far, since I came on board in this Oyo State, most women and girls that travel to all these Arab countries get exploited. And that's this. So I've spoken about the emerging trends. We have the recruitment, false jobs being advertised by all these traffickers, hiding under the cover of registered travel agents. I'm not even ruling out the fact that we have registered travel agency that's also indulge in human trafficking. That's why we do sensitization report. Then another thing is, I always tell people generally when I go for sensitization that, see, if anybody is offering you a job and telling you you don't have to pay anything, when you start working, you can be paying me back. That's a red flag. Because what should come to the mind of that person is, don't these traffickers, these people that are claiming to help me, don't they have brothers and sisters? Don't they have friends, relations that they could help as well? Why them? So that's where, excuse me, please. So these are some of these emerging trends in terms of recruitment and exploitation of, yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alfred. A lot has been said, but of all that you mentioned, something caught my attention and it really hits my heart so hard. And that is the Kachala law.
Kafala,
I don't know. Kafala, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay, the kafala law. For me, technically, it's an indirect way of giving permission to the citizens of those countries to enslave people from other country. And I think it's what the global community should pay attention to and stand really against. As you make your submission, I saw messages, questions dropping from people. And I think it's better I indulge them not to, take the entire time with my own question. So I'd like us to look at the comment section and ask some of the questions that have been asked down there. And the first of them is, what has the government done to perpetrators and arrested human traffickers, even when they posted their pictures on the social media? I think that is for the government. I don't know if you have anything to say to that, sir.
You say what has the government done so far in respect of traffickers, right? That post their pictures.
Yeah, the apprehended one.
I can tell you this. There's no trafficker that will post his own picture, knowing fully well that he could be
get it, sir.
Okay.
The trafficker that has been apprehended and whose picture has been posted by probably your agency or other agencies that work on human trafficking. After you have apprehended them, you posted their picture, and at the end of the day, does government proceed from there to do anything to them, or it all end there?
See, let me tell you this. You see, any suspected criminal is still innocent until proven guilty at the law court. You understand? In NAPTIP, when a trafficker is arrested and we want to maybe go to the press, maybe due to one thing or the other, you discover that we usually take the photographs, making the trafficker turn his back or her back. Though we for profiling sake, we have their photographs, you understand, we profile. Except if that trafficker has been convicted. You understand? We don't expose the face of a trafficker, just the way we do that of the survivors, you understand, the victims of human trafficking. If you are going to post anything with bloody face, you understand? Now, the bottom line of the question is that after a trafficker has been arrested, that trafficker, the next thing is, if we conclude our investigation, of course, we can't go to court without having enough evidence against a trafficker, because if we do, the case could be thrown out, you know, for lack of evidence. So we do the necessary by making sure that we investigate the cases. I am not ruling out the fact that we've seen one or two cases where even after arresting a trafficker, granting bail, of course, the trafficker must fulfill bail condition before being released on bail. Some of them we want to prove funny by trying to jump bail. And of course, such a person, the surety will produce him or her. And we have seen those that even jump bail that we went after them and we arrested them. And of course, prosecution. And, you know, things don't go smoothly, especially prosecution-wise. Most prosecutions are always linger, you understand, based on the judicial system. You understand? People always complain about that at least a trafficker has been arrested and there are evidences, he or she has been charged to court. The next thing is for the judge to just sentence. But you see, it doesn't usually go that way. You'll be seeing cases will be adjourned. In fact, and lawyers, they are lawyers too, complicate things. They will say in trial within trial. Some will even say that their client was forced under duress to make such statement. So in a nutshell, what I'm just trying to say is that whenever we have a trafficker in our custody, we do the right thing. The first thing, we give you bail conditions. When you meet these conditions, you'll be released on bail while our investigation is ongoing. As soon as investigation is concluded, it's straight to our legal and prosecution department. Our lawyers will look at it. Then the next thing is to file the case in court. There may be some cases, depending on, you know, there are different forms of human trafficking, labor exploitation, sexual exploitation, trafficking for the removal of organ tissue and cell, trafficking of children for alms begging, using them, you know, as domestic servants. Hello, the youth trafficking of trafficking of underage for the purpose of using them for pornographic content, all forms of exploitation. Hello, I believe I've answered your question.
We can hear you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Checking my time, I realized we have spent exactly 1 hour 29 minutes on the call so far. And of course, I don't want us to go
up to
the entire session. That's I'm referring to the entire session now. And of course, I don't want us to stay longer than 2 hours max. And if possible for us not to even spend up to that. So this next question I'm about to ask will possibly be the last question. And if time permits, I will still ask more questions thereafter. But for now, I would like to know, because earlier when I was discussing with Mr. Affair, he mentioned the fact that they don't work in isolation, they work with you. And also I have that understanding because of the little access I've had to, you know, also be out when they are talking about rescue. So I would like to know what collaboration exists between NAPTIP and other security agencies, particularly the NSCDC, the immigration, and the police.
Yes. You see, that question brings me to the 5P strategy of my agency, in which we execute our mandates, you understand? That's the last P. We call it partnership and collaboration. We have very, very vibrant relationship with all sister law enforcement agencies as regards joint operations, intelligence sharing, joint trainings, and the rest. Civil defense, we have, I would say civil defense of all the law enforcement agency is our closest ally, is our closest partners, because we usually engage civil defense We seek assistance from them. You know, they carry arms. Whenever we have a major operation to do, Mr. Fair, even up to yesterday, we still talked because we detained NAPTIP in Oyo State. So far, we don't have a cell of our own. We make use of that of the civil defense. It was yesterday in my hotel room that I called Mr. Fair. How far? We have a case. This case was transferred by the Nigerian Immigration Service. And within a jiffy, he just did it. The suspected trafficker was, you know, put under detention. Of course, before doing that, we gave him bail conditions, which as of this morning is yet to fulfill. You understand? So what I'm just trying to say is that all sister law enforcement agencies, the Civil Defense, the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigeria Police, the Department of State Services, NDLA, even Customs, all of them, even Amotekun, the road safety, all of them, we work together. Then I want to say that as NAPTIP has established what we call the States Task Force in all the states across the Federation. The task force, the chairperson for this task force in any state is the Attorney General, stroke the Commissioner of Justice. You know, the Commissioner of Justice is also the Attorney General, who is the chairperson, while the state commander of NAPTIP in any state is the co-chair. So the essence of the task force is to address this scourge of human trafficking from subnational level, that is state level, local government level. That's why we bring all relevant stakeholders, even representatives from faith-based organizations, from Christian Association of Nigeria. Even the traditional institution. In our task force, we have 2 traditional rulers, 2 ballets. For instance, the ballet of Ekutedo is there. We network, we hold meetings regularly, and we strategize. So curbing human trafficking, though, is a responsibility of NAPTIP as the focal agency, but we can't do it alone. That's why we need collaboration and partnership from relevant stakeholders. Thank you.
Yes. Your feedback bears ample evidence to how matured and professional our law enforcement agents are. Rather than having to lock on of supremacy with one another, you rather choose to synergize and make the society a better place for us. And I say, God bless all of you for your collaboration. A big thank you to you for that. Without wasting our time, I would like us to pause the question and answer for now, and you know, delve into something a little bit different. You know, some have been subjected to heat of human trafficking, and while some got completely burnt in the process, some came out victorious. And amidst those that came out victorious, we have a 17-year-old Babatunde Elizabeth in our midst. I would like for Elizabeth to share briefly with us her story, what happened, how she became a victim, and how she was able to get out of the web of trafficker. I would like to confirm if Elizabeth is on the call. Elizabeth, if you are there, please, can you say something for me to hear you? Unmute your microphone and say something. I guess you are the one using Mrs. Odigbo's device. Yeah, please go ahead and say something to us. Unmute your microphone, please. You are still muted, and we can't hear what you're saying. You have to unmute your microphone from the device you're using. Perhaps you have someone around you to help you do that. I can still see that you're muted.
Are you talking to me?
Check? No, I'm talking to the survivor that's about to speak with us, Elizabeth Babatunde. Yeah. Elizabeth is using Mrs. Rosemary Odigbo's device, and I can see. Okay, now you are unmuted. Can you proceed to introduce yourself to us and tell us what really happened to you? Elizabeth, are you there?
Okay. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to have you.
Yes, sir. I'm Dr. Rosemary Odigbo.
Oh, okay.
The
Good morning,
coordinator
Doctor.
of Child Protection Network, Oyo State. I'm the Southwest Coordinator of Asohon. Yeah, Nigeria. Good morning, sir. So you will hear
Morning.
her
It's nice
voice
to have
now so
you.
that she... Thank you, sir. So you can ask your questions for her to answer now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma. Elizabeth, how are you this morning?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and I'm so glad to have you on the call. I am aware that you've once been a victim of human trafficking. While it's a very pathetic situation, we are all here rejoicing with you that you came out victoriously. Could you please tell us briefly, how did it happen?
My name is Obatunde Elizabeth. I'm 17 years old. When I was
That's right.
12 years old, I finished my primary 6, and my mom does not have money to send me to school. Then one of my mommy friends told her that she's going to London, that she should allow me to follow her so that I'll be going to school there. Then my mommy allowed, because there's no money to send me to school. And my mommy doesn't know that it was Libya that I'm going to. When I get to Kano, I used almost 2 weeks. Then, hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Please speak on. Just continue to speak. Everybody is listening to
I used
you.
almost 2 weeks in Kano. Then, okay, sir. I used almost 2 weeks in Kano. Then after 2 weeks, I started the journey. I used almost 1 month on the road. That there was no water, nothing to eat. Like, I was drinking petrol. Like, I was dry. You know of God that saved me till now.
Hold
Because
on a moment. Hold on a moment, Elizabeth. You mentioned right now that
okay,
you
sir.
were drinking
Yes,
petrol.
sir.
Is that so?
Yes. Yes,
You
sir.
were practically
Because there
drinking
was no
petrol.
water to drink.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go on.
But something went wrong with me. Something
Oh.
bad happened when I drank the petrol because there was no water.
What happened when you drank the petrol?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, we want to know what actually happened to you when you drank the
feeling
petrol.
fine. My stomach, if I eat, if I belch, it will smell like dead rat. Like if I cannot sit down midst of people. If I fart, it will be smell like dead body, like someone that have died. That people be abusing me. That was all this. What did I eat? That my fat smell like belch. Like,
Now, did you
not
now go to
comfortable.
hospital when that happened? Did you go to the hospital where was anything done to take care of your health in the process?
That was Sabah when I was on the road to Libya.
Okay, which means you were not taken to the hospital. You didn't take any medical treatment in the process.
Yes, sir. But when I go to Libya, I stay with the boss, the person that bring me to take me to Libya. I stayed there. The person did not tell my mommy that the work that is there is house help and prostitute. And the person to tell me that I should take one for me. Will I do house help or I should do prostitute? I was not wondering that this work I can't do it. But this is all you and my mommy discussed before I left Nigeria. You told my mommy that we are going to London. He said there is no I want to go back to Nigeria. I should better choose one now before she will take me to the one that I don't like. And I said okay. Because I was small, I was very small, 12 years that time.
You were just 12 then.
I told her
awesome.
that okay, I will do house help. Yes, sir. Yes.
Please go on.
Then I told her that okay, I will do house help. I said I can do house help. I will manage. Then because Abu, after 1 week, she took me to the work house help. I started doing the work. Abu house is very, very big. They are very wicked. Beat me anyhow. because I cannot do the work they are giving me that I should do. I will clean this, clean this. They will tell me that I don't know how to do it. Like they will beat me anyhow. I manage. I use like almost 6 months there because when they from this place to Libya, when you get there, you are going to spend over 1 year and 3 months to work. Then you pay them their money back. They use and take you to Libya. Hello.
Please go on, Elizabeth. We can hear you clearly.
Okay,
Now you've gotten to Libya, and when you
yes,
got to
sir.
Libya, they asked you to
Yes,
choose either to be a prostitute or to be a house help.
Yes, sir.
But your choice was to be
Yes,
a
sir.
house help, and from there, what happened?
Yes, sir. Then she took me to the house. I was working, doing everything. If I work this place, they will took me to another place. I should go and work. And if I know this very well, they will beat me anyhow. They will come in like in that place. If you are there, they will call you like slave. That you are doing that case, come and meet them in their country. They will beat me anyhow because if I report to my boss, there's no one wants to do. Nothing should be do to it. Then after 6 months, I did like 6 months work. After it's meant 1 year, it's meant 9 months for me to pay because it's to pay when you get to Libya.
How long did you say it takes you to pay when you get to Libya?
Is if you want to pay, it's 1 year and 3 months. You are going to pay. You work for 1 year and 3 months, and the money they are doing are going to collect the money, collecting the money. But me, I work just 6 months because I could not do the work. They are beating me. They are doing me anyhow. If I woke up, sometimes wake up by 6 in the morning. Before I will just let me sit down, rest. Maybe like in the night around 8. No rest. You have to work that place. As if no work, they remove from your salary. And if they remove from my salary, my boss going to join another month to it. Then I have to work. Then when I get home, I told her that I cannot do this work, that it's too much from that. Let me to find another place. Then I stayed there like 3 days with my boss. When I already used 6 months, she took me to another house. I worked like 1 week because I already tired. I was weak. 1 week, they bring me back. Another week, another home, another house, seems another house. They was like almost 4 hours. Rejecting me that I don't know how to do work. Then she told me that the last one that I went to the house, my boss told me that if I come back to the house to come and meet her, that she's going to sell me for prostitute. Then I was now wondering that what was all this thing? What should I do? Hello, sir.
Please go on. Go on.
Yes, sir. I was wondering that God, what should I do? What is all this problem? At my tender age, I'm facing all this. Then when I get to the house, I say, for me to do this process, I can't do it. I'm still young for this. Then I just get angry. I enter the bathroom. I drank chemical.
Wow.
Hello, sir. I drank chemical. I said, this work, I can't do this
You
work.
drank chemical.
I drank chemical. Yes, flash. That is to call it in that place, flash. Because that chemical, if you pour that chemical on black things, immediately white become white. I drank it. I started vomiting blood. That's I could not water. I could not drink water. Water cannot pass my throat. I have to shout. I was shout. I'm not confident. I was vomiting blood. That time I was still, from God. That time I always say, God, there's no more hope for me this is the last hope for me. I will die. Because she told me that God should not take me to the hospital. She said, you should the one that sent me, that if I die, she's going to throw me in death. That I won't concern her, that it's not her business because she is always her money she wants, that she does not concern her. I said, God, if you are the one that sent me to this and you have a purpose for me, God, don't let me die in this condition. God, heal me. I was just praying, say, God, help me this thing. Then after vomiting blood, she chased me out. She threw my house. That I should go wherever I want to go. Then that time, I'll have one friend like this. But when he told me that there was one place that call it IRM. Then I went to their office. I explained to them. I told them what happened to me. I explained everything from beginning to the end. Then they said that they will help me. They put me in one home that I was staying there. I stayed like 6 months. They were feeding me, give me everything I want. They were providing everything I want for me. And after 6 months, they brought me back to Nigeria. When I got to Nigeria, they help my mommy. They give my mommy money to start her
Now,
business because there was no
Elizabeth,
money. Like everywhere was
please hold
dry. They
on.
didn't know to start her
Can you hear
business.
me?
My mommy is doing well.
Elizabeth,
Now I'm in school now.
Elizabeth,
Yes,
hold
sir.
on. I would like to ask you these few questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
prompted their move to bring you back to Nigeria? Did they
Okay.
just wake up one day and decide to return you to Nigeria? Can you hear my question? Hello,
No,
Elizabeth, are you there?
sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, did you hear the question I asked you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
No,
please
sir.
respond to it. Oh, okay. I asked, did they wake up one day and decided to bring you back to Nigeria or something happened? What led to the decision of bringing you back to Nigeria?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I was asking you, why did they decide to return you to Nigeria? Was it that something happened that
Bring me
compelled them
back.
to? Yeah, why did they decide to bring you back?
Yes, number one, they told me that I'm very, very small. Like, how will I come to that place? And number two, I told them that I was drank something and that time I was dried like broom. I don't know how blood. They have to take me to hospital, treat me, then flush my stomach. Even till now, I still having the problem in my body. Then that is why they take me to Nigeria.
It is safe to call you a living testimony. This is the one God has chosen to save. And of course, for everyone on the call, I'm very certain that we all agree to the fact that when we discuss human trafficking, we are not just bragging, we are not just saying what we cannot see. It is actually what is happening. Elizabeth here was just 12 years when all this misfortune befell her. And today she's 17. She's back on her feet and she's chasing her dream. I'm very certain by the grace of God that you will sure get to the place of destiny. But permit me to ask you this question, Elizabeth. Now
Okay,
God
sir.
has seen you through this difficult phase of your life. Now you are chasing your dream. Do you have any plan, maybe in the nearest future, to help people who would unfortunately fall into this kind of trap? Elizabeth, did you hear me?
No, sir.
Yeah, I'm asking that God blessing you in the future and you fulfill your dream and all. Do you have any plan within you to help people who would fall into this kind of situation in the future?
Yes, sir.
So what are the plans?
My plan is that I will try my best to, and now I have to tell people that if you are saying that you want to travel, you have to ask them, know where you are going to before you start the journey, before you say you want to go in, before we start the journey. And my plan is that in the future is that
We can hear you. Please speak on.
yes.
Please continue to speak, or everyone can hear you.
Okay, sir. That you should know. My plan is that if I see people like this, like this situation that happened to me, if I see this kind of people in the future, I will help them. I will try my best. Anything I need to help them, I will do it for the person.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It takes a whole lot of courage for you to decide to, come and discuss what has happened to you with us. We know it can be so traumatic, but I'm grateful to God that He has helped you out of that trauma. So, and I pray that God will perfect everything that concerns you henceforth. Someone was asking in the comment section if the perpetrators were traced and arrested, but I think I'll be the one to answer. I wouldn't want you to go through the stress of answering that. And the simple response to that is these people are not as traceable as it can look. If you pay attention when Mr. Alfred and Mr. Alfred were making their presentation about human trafficking being an organized process. They work with family, they work with friends, and at the end of the day, prosecution becomes quite difficult unless, particularly when it was not perpetrated in Nigeria, those that were more guilty of the whole thing were outside the country. So getting them to prosecute is a very difficult situation. But this person is trying to ask for that question. Elizabeth, I think you have to respond to that. She said, you mentioned that you followed your mother's friend. Is that
yes,
so?
ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
Now, what was done to your mother's friend? Was your mother's friend aware initially that they were taking you out for slavery?
Yes, she's the one that took me there. That's my boss. In that place, we used to call them our boss because they're the one that take us there.
Your mother's
she's
friend
the one that took me. That's
was the
the
one that took you there. Your mother's friend was the one that took you there, and she was your boss in the process.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now, what has been done to her so far? Did they just leave her to go scot-free? Hello? Elizabeth?
Hello, sir.
You mean
yes,
nothing
sir.
was done to your mother's friend? Nothing was done to your mother's friend?
Nothing.
She's
still in Libya, I think that now.
She's still in Libya till now.
Yes.
Right? I think this is a call. Thank
Yes,
God
sir.
we have those who are directly involved on the call this morning. Mr. Affair is here, Mr. Alfred is here, Pastor Marcus is here. I want to encourage, I want to make it a request at this point that you please work with Mrs. Rosemary Odigo, because Elizabeth is coming through her, that you should please work with her and let us see how much intervention you can do to getting this woman apprehended in order to forestall a reoccurrence of this pathetic situation. Once again, Elizabeth, I must say a very big thank you to you. Someone is also thanking you on the comment section. She's thanking you for being so open, and she prays that God perfects His healing in your life. And I know that is how God will do it. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. That will be all that we want to take with you for now. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
Now, at this point, I would like for our director, Reverend Father Charles Ajibaye, to take a time to relate with us. I don't know if he has one or two things to discuss with people here, and it will be time for him to do that before we call it a quit on the call this morning. Father, over to you.
Yes, once again, good afternoon, and thank you to everyone who has joined us on this very interesting webinar this year. We thank our moderator for for all that he's done, and all our guest speakers. And a very special way, I think we have to say a very big thank you to Elizabeth for sharing her story, because
Yes.
you know, when you hear human trafficking and you don't really see, when you don't see real life situations, you feel like they're just talking in the air. But I mean, this is a 12-year-old girl. She's now 15. I mean 17, I guess, and she's already seen that much. So that lets us know the reason why. I mean, following the theme for the year 2025, it says that human trafficking is organized crime, end the exploitation. So she thought she was going to London, only to find herself in Libya. I mean, that's the story of so many other persons. So I mean, and then that makes this webinar today makes it a very interesting one, where we are not more than 20-something on the platform, but that's 20-something persons, I mean 22 persons who can go out there to lend their voice in making sure that this scourge comes to a gradual end. It's not going to be automatic. And that's why it was good to listen to Pastor Marcos, Mr. Afe, Barrister Ibitara, and Elizabeth, and so many other persons who have dropped their comments in the chat box. So, I mean, as for us who are in JDPC, one thing that you can be rest assured is that we are going to definitely continue to do our best to make sure that we lend our voice, work more on our advocacy, and making sure that the right organizations, the right government institutions, they do their job. I mean, people do, if you listen to Mr. Pastor Marcos, funding is a problem. And once there's no money, you really can't do much. Funding is a problem. Institutional challenge and collaboration between security agencies, that one is also there. Shelter provision. So how else are we going to be able to achieve this aim of ending the scourge if all those who are supposed to collaborate together are not doing exactly what they're supposed to do? JDPC, in our own baseline, in our survey, we found out different channels and routes, but we can't do much unless we also have funding. So that's where every one of us have a huge role to play. Talk about it. You know, sports trafficking. I mean, I didn't know that was a thing. I usually think that was usually sports trafficking. So it's obvious now that it's not everybody that says that I'm going to Europe to play football or to better my life that ends up actually being successful. So we just have to keep talking. We have to keep hosting these webinars. We have to make sure that all the bottlenecks, interagency bureaucracy, they have to give way so that more lives can be saved. So using this opportunity to thank every one of us for coming. And I also think that in my own contribution, as part of the things that the church is doing to help in combating this human trafficking and migrants, because I mean migration is globally on the increase times 1,000, and the more migration is increasing, then the percentage of those who are going to fall into the traps of human traffickers is going to be on the increase also. So I'm sure that that's probably one of the things that led the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria to create the Migrant and Refugees Unit, which is in helping migrants to achieve legal status and helping people who have been who are falling into the traps of human traffickers to find their way out and get their lives back together. So once again, we thank all those in the Caritas department. We thank JDPC. We thank the staff of JDPC and everyone for making it a day with us today. And we hope and pray that we're going to continue to form a formidable coalition so that we can support the lives of those who have survived and then help those who are on their way into this trap to find their way out. So thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Thank you everyone for coming. And we hope that our efforts is going to bear fruit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so sincerely, Father. And that was Reverend Father Charles Ajibaye, the Director, Justice, Development and Peace Commission, JDPC, Ibadan. Father, it's a great pleasure to have you contribute on the call this afternoon. And I must say a very big thank you to all distinguished panelists for your thoughtful contributions. I checked through the call list and realized we still have Mr. Fair on the call. And also, I recognize especially Mrs. Rosemary Odibo. I know how much she also does when it comes to fight against human trafficking. So I'm throwing this very last question to the two of you, Mr. Fair and Mrs. Odibo. In one sentence, what message would you like to leave with participants today about collective fights to end human trafficking as organized crime? I would like for Mr. Fair to take that question first, after which Mrs. Odibo responds.
Thank you so much. I think in my own view, I want us to continue to strengthen our relationship, collaboration, synergy, to ensure that we bring this at least to the merest minimum of human trafficking. And of course, yes, maybe because of the network, I was thinking I was able to talk about this kafala law that has actually really been like a weapon for the trafficker to use against the victims. Because that
please
kafala
talk
law,
about it. Yeah.
Yes, people, most of these traffickers, especially the enlightened ones, you see, the traffickers, we have some that are more informed, some are not informed, they are just into the business. Do you understand? Then the ones that are well informed, who have access to this kafala law, they misinterpret it to the people they are trafficking out of the system, making them to understand that trafficking them is more legitimate because they are going there to do a legitimate job. But the undertone, like Oga Fred said the other time, when they get there, what they do is quite different from what the law itself is doing. However, I'll be looking to where and how, if it's going to be Nigerian government, if it's going to be JPDC, how we can reassess this law. If you can get the whole copy of the law, assess it and see the interpretation of it, so that we can have a sensitization program to the populace to understand that these are the misconceptions about this thing. These are the things that are wrong about this law. And if possible, if a memo or anything can be written to the government to send it to the Arab wars, because they are using it against this. The last system that is more legit, this year is more legit to people that are trafficking. At this, what do you call it, traveling agency, that come and travel to Qatar, come and travel to Oman, come and travel to Morocco or to Egypt. But when they get there, the decision is reversed. So on this, I would just want to say a few things on that, and to advise that we continue to have a strong synergy, and not only to see and say something, but also to do something when you say it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Fair. And it's another great honor to have you participate on today's webinar. And I must say thank you once again for who you've been. And I would say that you should continue to be. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mrs. Odigo. You're welcome, sir. Mrs. Odigo, if you are there, can you just respond to that in one sentence? What message would you like to leave with participants talking of the topic of today?
Message. Okay. Message is that
your background is quite noisy. We can hardly hear you.
I said the message is that we should all join together. Let there be policies on ground, strict policies that must be implemented, not just policy alone, against the perpetrators. Because a lot of the perpetrators are left untouched and they are busy in their trade in different parts of the country and in different parts of the world. Because, and then the message, the awareness should be strong. The awareness should be stronger than what we have now. because we have seen that even parents sell their properties to send their children into slavery and so on. So the awareness has to be stronger than what we have now. So we all need to stand up and work more. And by the grace of God, we will see an end to this issue. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, madam, for that great contribution you just made. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who have contributed to this very rich conversation. And for me, I have some key takeaway from today, and they include the fact that human trafficking is organized, it is deliberate and systematic. Also, I am able to gather that tackling it requires a cross-sector collaboration, that is from government to civil society to security agencies and even the community as it is. Because if we can police ourselves, if we can watch over one another, a lot of situation can be managed. Also, I am able to also pick from today's webinar that victims must be treated with dignity and not suspicion. You know, if Elizabeth has been suspected, rather than being treated with dignity, perhaps she won't be standing on her feet today to share her story with us. Also, I also gathered that prevention, protection, and prosecution must work hand in hand to break this criminal network. I must say a very big thank you to everyone again. And before I call it a quit, I want to quickly read a message I just dropped if it speaks to what we are saying. This person says, oh, this is Sister Pam. She's saying that thank you to all speakers. Thank you for sharing. It's been a lovely and enriching experience. Special thanks to the moderator as well. And we are saying thank you to you too, Sister Pam. And on behalf of Justice, Development and Peace Commission, JDPC Ibadan, I, Babajide Olowoyo, I'm sincerely thanking our distinguished speakers, participants, and all supporters for the time you have shared with us today. And I must say that this conversation must not end right here. Ending human trafficking requires persistent collaboration, continued advocacy, and stronger accountability. And together we must expose and as well distort and even end exploitation wherever it is thriving. And thank you so much for your time. Do stay safe and stay vigilant, stay committed to the cause of human dignity. And it is on this note, I will be drawing the curtain on the webinar this afternoon. And thank you to everyone. This concludes the webinar. Do have a beautiful day ahead of you. And I would like for everyone to unmute themselves and say goodbye to one another until all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.